Hello and welcome to this week's Dear Love Talk. We want to remind you that if you have any questions to do with your relationship, then do get in touch on the email questions@lovetalkshow.tv or also send us a message on Facebook and we'll reply. The first question for this week comes from Jessica and she says, I've been avoiding my love life for a while because of the things I've been through in my past, but I finally decided to move forward. I've also noticed a young man that I like. My question is, what is the best way to go about starting in the dating scene? Well, Jessica, you've mentioned two separate things. You mentioned a man that you've noticed, a young man, but also what the best way is to start in the dating scene. Well, the first thing to remember is that there is a right and wrong place to look for love. And I would say that a wrong place would be a nightclub, would be a bar. Statistically, very, very few relationships that are long-lasting actually started in a nightclub or a bar. But most long-lasting relationships start from someone who's referred to you by a family member. A family member said, listen, I know a friend who would really match with you. Perhaps someone from your work environment or a friend that you already know. Actually,
so it's good to let people know, your circle of friends, that you are looking for someone. You're looking to settle down and, have a serious relationship.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking to someone this weekend who actually got married this weekend, and he was saying that his friends told him about this girl about 6 or 7 times, and every time he said, no, I don't like her. And the first time he really tried to talk to her, I think after 10 minutes, he said, this is the girl I'm going to get married. And they got married this weekend. So maybe the person you will be together is already part of your life and you just didn't notice them yet.
Exactly. And how should you deal with this feeling that you're having inside of you towards this person? I mean, it depends on how confident you are. I mean, it depends who the person is. Maybe you can go to someone who is close to him and let him know through his friend how you feel and see the feedback you get. It depends on your age as well. Some people just want to, let me just get this done and ask him straight away if he likes me because I like you. It depends, but you should do something about it. You need to perhaps start looking into who the person really is, and then see if you are compatible before you actually, get involved emotionally.
That's right. Second question is for you.
Yeah, he's trying to rush me because I always take long to answer the questions. But anyway, it says, I have been engaged for a while and I believe this is the woman I am going to marry. The thing is that I need her to sort out some things about herself first before we take that step. I have told her that first she needs to deal with situations in her family that are not ideal. She also needs to look after her appearance more than she does and be more on my level in terms of maturity. She just doesn't seem to get the message. How do I make her see these things?
So basically she needs to change everything about herself.
Or maybe you should be dating someone else. Because if these things really bother you, it means that you are not compatible. I advise you at home to look up the word compatible. Sometimes, there's things that are not deal breakers. Maybe she's a bit on the chubby side, but she's a really lovely, wonderful, interesting person, and that's okay for you. You're not focused only on her, being a size 0 or whatever size you want it to be, but you're focusing on other things because time changes people. Pregnancy changes people. What are you going to do later on in your marriage? I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. So if you see that you can't deal with those differences you have, so don't make her feel like she's not good enough.
And don't make her wait.
Exactly. Don't deceive her, making her believe that you are going somewhere when you are not.
And also some of the things that he said here are not relevant. For example, it's not relevant, how her family is. That's her family. We're talking about her. You're not going to marry her family. You're going to marry her. and you know, oh, she's great, but I want it to look more a certain way, then you shouldn't be engaged with her, because when you start a relationship, you like the person the way they are. So I think you're trying to change her too much, and that's a bad sign. She's going to resent you for the fact that you're trying to change her that much.
And the thing as well, just before we move on to the other question, is you haven't spoken much about you. How are you? I would love to hear how she sees you. Very unmerciful.
Great point.
You seem to be very unmerciful kind of man. And people like this often are left alone, because you need to be able to understand people around you. No one is perfect.
Yeah.
So there you have it.
That's right. Final question comes from, they're describing themselves as a young couple. So he says, what they say, "Hi James, we are a very young couple and we've been dating for a year. Our relationship is great, but we would like to spend more time together with each other. The thing is that we are both so busy that sometimes weeks go by and we hardly see each other. Do you have any tips on helping us with this?" Well, you know, I think now more than ever, people get really, really busy. You know, it's really hard keeping a career and pursuing your dreams and sometimes keeping a relationship. And I have said this here before. I think when you're not dating, when you're single, you can pretty much divide your time the way you want. You can work from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening, and then go and play tennis for 3 hours, and then, you know, go out with your friends. And that doesn't really matter. But when you start a relationship, I think that the sentence here that is important is that something's got to give, right? You have to give up something that is taking away that time that you need to invest in your relationship. Our time is the same for everybody else. Everyone has 24 hours in a day. If you're allocating those hours with things that you deem more important than your relationship, then you're going to struggle. So our advice is take time that was invested in something else and perhaps sacrifice those things in order to spend more time with each other. That's the only solution.
Yeah, and also it's really worrying that at that stage of your life, of your relationship rather, you don't show much enthusiasm, because come on, I remember when we were dating, we were very busy. And we would make sure we found time for each other. So there's something, I don't know, maybe it's the way you are, you know, it's your personalities. But if you are like this now, I can only imagine when you get married and when children come along. What you're going to do? You're going to send each other an email and book an appointment to see each other. And also, don't forget, this is more for the lady, and I'll let my husband speak to the gentleman. You know, we all have needs. We all have emotional needs, because we're talking about the relationship. And if we don't meet each other's emotional needs, someone else will. And I'm not saying that this is what happens and it's okay. No, it means that you are not watching your relationship. You are not being careful enough.
Yeah.
Because if someone comes along who works with your boyfriend and is always paying him compliments and being there for him, soon he's going to forget about you. And it's not because he's a bad man, because you are non-existent in his life.
Yeah. So remember that, you know, if you're not spending time together, you are making yourself more vulnerable for each other. Okay? So we hope that we've been able to help with your questions. Get in touch and we will try as much as we can to answer all the questions here on the program. Until next time, bye-bye.